Hello and welcome back to my channel, guys. This is Sadia, and in today's video we are going to talk about the novel Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence. So the D.H. Lawrence was born on 1885 and he died on 1930. The type of the plot is psychological realism and it is written in late 19th century. The novel was published in 1930. And it is written in the modernist period, of course, and we will have to talk about the characters in the novel a little bit so that you will understand the summarization better. So there is this Gertrude Morrell, a devoted mother. She is the main character, okay? And then there is Walter Morrell, who is the husband of Gertrude, and he is a coal miner by the profession, okay? And he's a drunken man and he doesn't bring anything to the table. And she has 4 children: William, Annie, Paul, and Arthur. Okay, I have told it sequentially. So and then there is another character, Miriam Livers, who is Paul's sweetheart or girlfriend, and then Clara Dawes, who is Paul's mistress, and Baxter Dawes is Clara's husband. So let's see what is there in the summarization. So are we ready for it? Okay, so the novel starts when what happens is that Mrs. Morrell, she is really attracted to this guy, Walter Morrell, and she finds him to be very handsome and very attractive, and then she gets married to him because of that thing, okay? She is attracted to his beauty and she gets married to him. So what happens is, after a few years into the relationship, the problems start because he was only attracted to the superficial things, okay? So what happens is they start fighting. She realized that he's a drunken man. He drinks a lot, okay, and he does not does his work also. So they are very laid back financially also, okay. So he was a coal miner, of course, so he can't do much anyways. And they started having arguments. So what happens is, soon after, this Mrs. Morrell, she gets emotionally connected to her children rather than her husband's, okay? So this will play a very important role in this story. So what happens is, she gets very close with William, her oldest son. But soon after, when William completes his studies and also he had to move to London for his for his job and all, because there he was getting the better job offers. So he goes there to London for his job, and now Mrs. Morrell is again alone. So here she gets connected with Paul now. Why Paul? Because Paul is a weak person and he needs weak man who needs assistance, okay? He is very feminine. He's not very masculine in his ways, okay? And here is this another thing, okay? You will see that Paul has a resemblance to D.H. Lawrence's himself, okay? That's why this novel is also called an autobiographical fiction, okay? So what happens is, during the course, William gets ill. Now Mrs. Morrell goes there to nurse him back to health, but he dies anyway. So she is into great sorrow and all. She neglects everything, and in that phase only, this Paul gets sick, and that is when Mrs. Morrell realizes that it is better to be with the living person than to grieve about the dead person, and she indulges herself in treating back Paul to health, okay? And what happens due to this is they get very much connected to each other. Now when Paul was 16 years old, he goes to the party, to the Livers' house, and there he meets 15-year-old Miriam, and they get very close together. They are in love with each other and all, but Mrs. Morrell does not approve of Miriam. I don't know the reason, but she does not approve of Miriam. And for that reason, Paul has a constant doubt in his mind about Miriam, and he does not marry her. But later on, through Miriam, he meets Clara Dawes, who is separated from her husband, but she does not want to divorce him. So what happens is, now Paul cannot marry Clara because he has not divorced her husband, and he does not want to marry Miriam because of her mother. Okay, so what happens is now this Paul is very confused between the two women, between Clara and Miriam, and he cannot choose, and he feels like that his mother is the only woman that he can turn for complete understanding and love. Her mother was the only reason, because of her only he could not connect with Miriam completely, because her mother disapproved of her. Okay, so what happens is, during this course, he kept on changing from Clara to Miriam to Clara to Miriam. Okay, he was with both the women's, but not at the same time. Okay, he used to switch and used to tell the other person, I think. Okay, so what happens is, during this course, he gets to know that his mother is really ill and she has cancer, which is incurable. Okay, her health was deteriorating and they were feeling the pain. Okay, he was nursing her mother and he was feeling her pain through the sufferings of her mother, and he could not see that suffering for any longer. And then he one day he decides to give her the extra dose of morphine and she dies. And what happens after that is that Clara, she goes back to her husband, okay, Baxter, and they reconnect with each other. And now Paul goes back to Miriam, but Miriam at this point she refuses him. And after the death of his mother, Paul is left all alone in this world without anyone to go to, and he still has his heart, but there is no real connection for her. I don't know. What do you think about this novel? Okay, the one of the main things in this novel is about Oedipus complex. Okay, Oedipus complex is a thing where the son is sexually attracted to his mother. Okay, so these are the things in this novel, and then there is this thing that this novel is a psychological novel. So you will have to read about that, and then the relationship between Paul and his mother. You will have to read that, and then you will have to discuss the relationships and all. And the title of the novel is very important, because why is it Sons and Lovers? Sons, there is this two story going on, right? One is the mother son relationship, sons, and this lovers relationship, which is between Clara, Mariam, and Paul. There is this love triangle, right? And there is this complex relationship between the son and his mother also going on altogether. So I hope you got to learn something from me today. And if you like the video, please do support me. Please subscribe and comment what part you liked and what you didn't like, and how I can improvise myself and all. You can comment everything down below, and I will look after it. Okay, and please, please, please don't let go of my hard work. Okay, and I love you guys. Ta-da, bye bye.